Hi everyone. I just saw a movie titled Afterburn, and I think I might be the only person on the planet who saw it. Well, there was like 20 of us in the theater. But Fandango has been acting weird lately, at least in my area. Usually you can see, movies like weeks ahead of time, and then sometimes even months ahead of time. But for some reason, it couldn't even tell like 1 week. Like I wanted to buy some tickets early for that One Battle After Another, and it was showing like 2 movies at a theater with 18 screens. It's like, what the hell? And then I tried to buy a ticket for this at another place. It wasn't working. And then I drove there, and apparently the whole part of that town had no power, which is appropriate for a post-apocalyptic movie. So I think TikTok, I saw the trailer for this earlier today, and I was like, that looks kind of cool. When does it come out? Well, it came out like 3 weeks ago, to very, very select theaters, like 3 per state or some shit like that. I don't know. It has a very strange release strategy or whatever. So all I had going with it was a trailer that looked cool, which is post-apocalypse, and Dave Bautista, he gets hired to retrieve the Mona Lisa because the King of England, who's a black American, is trying to restart humanity, and cultural artifacts are important for that. I was like, oh, I really like the concept of appreciating art and art being important to humanity, which is the opposite of the propaganda of the anti-woke YouTubers, which is they hate art and artists and culture and creativity, which ultimately means you just hate humanity. Also, just like the stunts looked good, and I was like, okay, tough guy, post-apocalypse, fetch quest. Olga Kurylenko. All right, I'm going to go see it. So it kind of took me like the whole day to find a theater where it was actually showing. And for some reason, the woman in front of me paid for my snacks. I was like, am I a whore? Like, what is this? It's like, buy yourself something cute. It's like, okay, why did you do that? But anyway, so I went in, and it was like just freaking excellent. The whole thing was good. And I figured out what it was about halfway through. So they have that guy he was like Keanu's stunt double for 20 years. And then he co-directed the first John Wick, and then I think he directed the other ones. He pops up in a lot of stuff like that. He was in Atomic Blonde. I'm blanking. Well, there's Stahelski, and then there's the other one. I think he's Stahelski. The other one directed Bullet Train, and also I think Atomic Blonde. Anyway, it was these 2 stuntmen, and they kind of co-directed and kind of co-created the John Wick franchise. Not in writing the script, but like the vibe and the stunts and all that type of stuff. So after just an hour of just crisp storytelling and stunts, I figured out what it was. And then afterwards, I went to go look at the Wikipedia. It's a stuntman. It's a different stuntman. So, man, get stuntmen to direct movies. They do a damn good job. And I often get on YouTubers for focusing on the negative, specifically plot holes, which almost every movie has. And I used to be very, very frustrated with plot holes. It's like, why don't you just do a pass on the script to look for plot holes? Well, because most creative people don't think that way. They think about I saw a TikTok where, what's his name? The bald guy who he wrote and directed Blade 3. Anyway, he writes those, he works on some of the scripts for the Nolan Batman movies. And somebody was asking are they going to do a 4th movie? Will they ever go back? And he's like, no. He's like, we actually came up with the final scene before we came up with the rest of it. Like, everything builds to that final scene. It's the entire point. And I don't like that Batman movie, but you understand what I'm saying. These are creative people. They think emotionally. They don't think logically. Stuntmen, on the other hand, really like to cross those T's and dot those I's, because I was actually kind of really impressed. Like, I'm not, like I said, I don't make a huge deal about like plot holes, but there were so few plot holes in this that when there was a plot hole, I was just like, damn, this is like the first plot hole in the whole movie. It's like an hour and a half into the movie. At one point, they need to go destroy the power plant for a different place. And I'm like, why don't you just sever the connection to the power plant? Like, that's a lot easier. But I don't know, maybe it was buried 20 feet below the ground, whatever. But it's Dave Bautista, tough guy. He's in that old school, like, sarcastic, sardonic. He doesn't really want to be a hero, but he is one, you know, so he kind of gets forced into retrieving what he thinks is the Mona Lisa. Spoiler, I won't spoil it, but there's a spoiler, but I won't spoil it. Go see it. It's in one theater in the country. I don't know. It's very strange. Yeah, so I don't remember it being in the theaters last week, but Wikipedia says that it went out like 3 weeks ago. So I don't know. But yeah, it's a very simple, you know, post. Here's the thing though. I always think about people's breath. Whenever it's post-apocalypse and like, you know how in movies people talk to each other like really closely all the time because they want to get two people in the same shot? I'm just always like, oh God, everybody's breath. What are you brushing with? Like twigs? Do you like, you put a leaf in your mouth? Like, oh, it's just, I just feel like everyone is like, whoa, let's just be like 10 feet away from each other. But yeah, that and the armpits and all that type of stuff. But good. Have more stuntmen making movies. You know, this is some good, solid. It's funny because I lived through like the 70s, 80s, all those like I saw E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark and all these great movies. Like I saw them, I was the age to see them all when they first came out, except for Star Wars: A New Hope, which I misremember as seeing when it first came out, but I actually saw it a year later when it did the 1 year re-release. But one of the things I remember from, well, even more like the 90s, is like every week or two, there was a movie like this in the theaters. Just a straightforward adventure or sci-fi movie. I guess technically this is both. But it was post-apocalypse, so there wasn't anything new, you know. But like great performances by everybody, by like Sam Jackson, and he had like a aide-de-camp, or no, she was a defense minister. And then even like you have like Volkov, the villain. I think he's a Game of Thrones actor. But then the Stahelski guy was his henchman. And like they had a whole like everything hit. You know, just like everything was good. And I don't want to get into this, like, you know, there's this whole like anti-woke thing where they hate art. It's like they don't like anything pretentious, which just means like artsy. It was a very straightforward, you know, action movie. But there was heart and humanity to it, and just good hits. Like all the hits connect. Good fight scenes, not a million fight scenes, but good ones. It ended. It feels like they thought this was going to be a franchise. It won't be, but fuck, this is fucking cool. It's the director. I think his name is J.J. Perry. He also directed this movie that came out last year that was in the theaters for like 2.5 minutes. I really wanted to see it. And it also was Batista, so I guess they're just, you know, boys or something like that. But keep an eye on this guy, J.J. Perry. It's gonna click, and he's gonna be, you know, directing or co-directing or co-creating like the next John Wick franchise. Like he's just good, man. Like I want to go. He's only done 2 other movies. I want to go back and watch them. So I feel like I described everything around the movie. Yeah, it's very. Oh, there's a really cool car. There was this guy, God, it's like in the Bosnian War, this guy who like souped up a Trans Am and armored it. He used to do runs, resupply. So there's like a really cool car in there, like this, I don't know. It was just really good. It was like a classic guys movie, lots of tanks, machine guns. There's a pretty girl, the muscly, sarcastic action star. Man, I really loved this movie. Like, loved it. It was excellent. Anyway, go check it out at the 3/4 of one theater in the entire world where it's showing at. You can see it in Texas, you know, at a couple places. One of them even had power. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.